Right about now. Skiddly down, 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 down.
Tesher, that's right. We've got our Canadian brother or our Punjab brother here.
What's up, man? Ni hao. How's it going?
Hey, we're good. So first off, obviously you know a little Mandarin, right?
That's all there was.
But that's the thing. You grew up in Regina, but you moved to Toronto, which is sort of a melting pot, as they say. So I'm sure you see all kinds of people up there.
Oh, of course. So many people that are Chinese and Japanese and all over the place. Honestly, if anything, my biggest experience with just that whole culture came from food. My favorite food, I just have to get it right off because it's the thing that I always wanted to ask somebody about that actually knew the language, because I know I'm pronouncing it wrong and I want to ask you if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yo, hit me, bro. Hit me.
Is it Xiao Long Bao?
Yeah, you got it spot on.
Yeah?
Xiao Long Bao.
All right.
Yeah. So that's your favorite food? That's your favorite food?
Xiao Long Bao is my favorite food more than anything. It's funny because I made a song, Jalebi Baby. Everybody thinks jalebi is my favorite food, but no.
Right.
Xiao Long Bao is my favorite food in the whole world.
Yo,
hands down.
Xiao Long Bao is like you get enough carbs and soup at the same time, and of course you get the protein too. It's everything in one little bun. It's perfect.
Exactly. What else do you want? It's all there.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually did see quite a few interview videos of you confessing to the fact that you're actually not that big on how sweet jalebi is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's honestly like, it works as a good metaphor, but as a regular part of my diet, not really. That being said, I would recommend that everybody who has not tried a jalebi should go try a jalebi.
Wow, sure.
Because it's really nothing like it. Everybody tries to compare it to other sweets from America and Canada. There's no comparison. There's only one jalebi.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so Jalebi Baby as a song has been blowing up around the world, and then Jason Derulo jumped on a collaboration. But this whole trip for you started when you were very young, like early teens. You started making music or playing music for people at a very young age.
Mm-hmm. Music was always a part of my life. My parents just played a lot of music around the house. My dad was a Indian dance teacher, so that was a big part of our lives.
Okay.
And it was just something that kind of ran through my blood, I guess. And I started DJing weddings and parties and birthdays when I was like 11 or 12. And so that's what I did on the weekends. And that kind of built into me experimenting with mixing English songs with Indian songs and just all kinds of different cultures coming from there. And that's kind of what started me on this whole journey of making my own songs, making original music, which has obviously led to this moment.
So a lot of kids who aspire to be DJs or musicians, the problem is they have all the experience but no chance to find a gig. How did you find all these gigs?
Through my dad.
Nice. Family business.
you gotta stick with the family. No, my dad had a videography side business where he would go and do he would take the video of these weddings and these birthdays, and as he was doing them, people would come and say, hey, you're good on the video, can you do the music too, because we need some music to be played at these weddings. Indian people love to dance,
of course.
And he's like, well, I can't do it because I'm doing video, but my 12-year-old son can come along and start doing it. So that's how I started. It's because the Indian community in my hometown needed a DJ and there was no other DJ. It's really just fulfilling the empty need. It's supply and demand.
Yeah, that's perfect. And well, here the thing is with Asian families, right? Be it South Asian, Southeast Asian families, how Russell Peters portrayed, the Indian culture, and then you have the latest, Ronnie Chan, who would talk about the Taiwanese Chinese side. Our families tend to want us to be lawyers and doctors. I guess you never had that problem because dad was welcoming you into his side jobs as an assistant.
Well,
did he still?
I mean, I feel like a little bit of that is always going to be present no matter who the parent is.
Yeah.
My parents, they said to me, look, they obviously knew that I really loved music.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy and grateful that they never stopped me from doing anything. But what they did say is go and get a degree. And after you get the degree, then you can go and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So to that end, that's why I went to school and I got a business degree, only because it was the only degree that allowed me to be a little creative. I was like, okay, marketing, I can do some kind of creative stuff.
Yeah.
But that's honestly what it was. Just them wanting me to get a degree first. And honestly, after I got a degree, I worked in corporate for a few years. I hated it and decided to give music a shot, and it's working out pretty well so far.
No, I think that's the natural progression, because I did the same thing, right? I wanted to go into something that's a bit softer, interior design or music. But you got to answer to your Asian parents, be like, okay, fine, I'll do a business degree to show you that at least I'm thinking about making money and sustaining myself. But after that, allow me to do what I want. And you went from a young DJ to now a full-grown producer. 2 hit songs. Jalebi Baby has around hundreds of millions of streams worldwide. And what I find interesting is that this song was on the top of the Shazam charts in a lot of countries. How do you feel about that statistic? Like, people are just listening to it and wanting to find out what the song is.
Man, that's the craziest part. Out of all of it, that's the craziest part, because it's so crazy to think that I made a song in my bedroom. Yeah. And it's like the #1 most Shazam song in like Taiwan or Egypt or Turkey. You know what I mean? Places that like I mean, obviously I've never even been to a lot of these places, and to think that in these countries the #1 song that they're all trying to listen to is mine. Like, it's crazy. Just like stop and think about it. It was insane. But if anything, that kind of gave me the confidence to move forward and really try to make this happen with Jason Derulo, because of those Shazam chart numbers, I was seeing that people internationally, even if they didn't know English, even if they didn't know Punjabi, they were responding to the music. And if they respond to the music, that just means the song is strong and the song can go further. So in a way, it was a really good thing, because it was a very good indicator of how far the song could go. Yeah,
of course. And Jason Derulo, I mean, I wonder how this happened, because I know he's very active on TikTok, and maybe because the song was making a lot of waves on TikTok, right? A lot of people are making videos dancing or maybe cooking jalebi to it, which, by the way, I don't think is a great thing to happen when we're in lockdown. Like, we already have, we're out of shape as it is, and now we're cooking jalebi all the time. So how did it happen with Jason Derulo?
Man, so from what I have been told, because what happened to me is he had reached out to me, right? Which was crazy, because when the song was getting really famous all over the world, I was thinking that a good way to help it grow into the mainstream would be with the help of a mainstream feature, right? So Jason Derulo was honestly one of the first guys I even had in mind to like try to somehow get to, because I could literally hear him on the song. It was an energetic song. It was kind of a worldly influence, and he had just done Savage Love, which had like, a producer from New Zealand put his kind of spin on it. Yeah. And he just makes high energy records, and it's just a fun high energy record. And, with my luck, I kind of spoke it into existence and manifested it, because he had reached out to me saying that, he loves the song, he wanted to get into it. And the way that he found it was via Shazam. Actually, I think that, a guy like Jason Derulo, smart guy, always looking for like new music and trying to make sure that he's got his ear to the streets, as every good musician should, And I think he saw that Jalebi Baby was making a lot of noise, and I think he just loved it so much that he decided to come to me. He believed in the record enough to want to be a part of it, and so I'm thankful for that, because we ended up with an incredible new version.
Well, I mean, the song has to be a banger first, right? But of course, it's a smart move on Jason's side to go, well, I think that Punjabi culture and the Indian diaspora is a huge market, and maybe it's time to finally familiarize myself with the people who probably already like my music. But you do make a lot of mainstream connection with what is traditional Indian music to what is hot now. Like, for example, your other big song called Young Shah Rukh, right?
Young Shah Rukh, yes.
Young Shah Rukh is a mashup between Old Town Road and very classic Indian hits. So do you think there's a mission here for you to always kind of blend the two?
I wouldn't say that like I'm always trying to do that, but it's a natural thing.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Canada, and my parents are from India, and so when I was growing up, my whole identity is really based around two worlds. You know, both the Western side and the Indian side, and I have been able to find a good harmony between those two worlds and help them coexist. And I've been able to tap into the best parts of those worlds to live a fun life. Yeah. And as a result, it's just going to be natural that flows into my music. I listen to hip hop, but I'm going to drop a couple of words in Hindi and Punjabi because that's how I talk, you know? So it's never something that I've tried to like, oh, I really have to make sure that there's like an Indian reference in here or something like this. When I made that song, I Feel Like Shah Rukh Khan, it was literally because I felt like Shah Rukh Khan. Because I just felt like I was the king of the world. I felt like I was a super cool Bollywood actor. Because when I was growing up, you look at Bollywood actors and those are your He-Man, that's your Spider-Man, that's your Superman. Those are your superheroes, right? Right. So it's really just a product of growing up in Canada, but with Indian, with just Asian parents. It's just, you're going to blend those worlds one way or another.
Do you think, aside from Dad being a dance instructor, that Bollywood also gave you that musical start?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Bollywood and hip hop, I think, played very equal parts in forming my musical identity because like I would go to school and it would be all hip hop. I'd come home and it would be all Bollywood and Punjabi Bhangra music, right? So it was both of those worlds were so formative, and obviously when you're a kid, those are when the influences are really going to sink into you and come into play as you start doing things later on in life. So absolutely, Bollywood and A.R. Rahman and so many, Sukhwinder Singh, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, so many amazing artists from the whole South Asian region, that whole music scene have influenced my music.
Yeah, I think preference towards hip hop might have partly to do with the era that you grew up in, but certainly it has to do with the culture, because I think hip hop really does blend very well with Bollywood's music. Or growing up on Vancouver, for me, we didn't have a lot of the Hindi or Punjabi speaking population, but for the lack of that, we made up with all of the Farsi speaking population. So my Persian friends all listen to hip hop, and it blends really well with the culture, and I think it's a perfect match for the two.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about hip hop, but like it just has this rhythm that
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
So many people can get into it, and it blends so you're totally right. Hip hop and Punjabi music are so easy to mix, to be honest with you. They have such similar energies and stuff that they're very, very similar. So, and obviously that lends itself to the fan bases. South Asian people are some of the biggest fans and supporters of hip hop music. Till this day, I'll tell you, there's like a lot of Punjabi dudes who are just hanging out in Surrey and Markham and all those places, and they are still absolutely bumping West Coast Tupac, Corrupt, Dr. Dre, just like it's still 1995. They love that stuff. I don't know what it is. To be honest, if you even look at popular Punjabi music today, a lot of it is really sounding like old West Coast hip hop music. That era, and just like the golden era of hip hop, was so fundamental, or so influential rather, on just the Punjabi speaking community. And I think it's just because it's just a good, they just blend well.
And I think, these guys really thank God for you, because finally there's someone who's making that kind of melodies, but with lyrics that they can really sing along to. And I think it's got to be a great feeling to be able to do that. For everyone who hasn't listened to Jalebi Baby or Young Shah Rukh, I just keep on messing up that name. Young Shah Rukh. Young Shah Rukh. And by the way, who is Shah Rukh? I think you need to explain to the non-Bollywood kids.
Sure. So Shah Rukh Khan is a Bollywood actor. Okay. He's the biggest Bollywood actor. Like, you can't even compare him to Brad Pitt or George Clooney or Tom Cruise or any of these guys. He's like the second richest actor in the whole world after Jerry Seinfeld.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, this guy is like the king. Like, he's literally known as King Khan. And so for that reason, that's why I say I feel like Shah Rukh Khan, because he's the best. And I felt like I was the best when I made that song.
Yeah, so if Shah Rukh Khan were to call you up, I'm sure you've imagined this. and be it for just a praise or maybe a pitch for collaboration, like what would you want him to say if he called you up?
What would I want him to say? Well, I would hope that he would say, Tesher, I really enjoy your music, and I loved young Shah Rukh. I'm not offended by you calling it young Shah Rukh. I didn't think you were trying to call me old. That was a real worry at one point. I was like, I wonder if he just thinks I'm calling him old Shah Rukh. I really hope not. But I think he'd be gracious about it for sure. I think he's a cool dude.
Yeah, and you know how Asian people are with being called old, right? So that's still a line you don't want to cross there. Yeah. So with Tesher, what is the next step for you? You've got you've been blowing up around the world. You got Jason Derulo joining on a collaboration. What's the next step for you?
Well, the music video drops in like 10 hours. Yeah. So I'm super excited for that to happen, honestly. And I haven't slept in like 24 hours because I've been getting ready for this music video. So honestly, I'll tell you what's next for me: sleep. Yeah. And then I'm going to wake up and absolutely start getting back to the music and get back in the studio and start killing it. No, honestly, I'm so happy to have the opportunity to be making music at this level and people are paying this much attention to me. And I just want to run with the opportunity. I just want to do the most that I possibly can. So no, man, I'm trying to get back in the studio and just come with the next one and the next one and the next one. This was a bit of a long time I spent on Jalebi Baby just because it had such a crazy journey as it's gone through the whole world before it's actually ended up into the mainstream. But I'm hoping the next song I can kind of push out a little bit sooner than later. So yeah,
So as an artist, and of course you have to talk to Universal Music about this one, but are you more of a singles guy or more of an albums guy?
You know, honestly, right now I think I'm more of a singles guy just because I'm still, I think, trying to figure out what I want my sound to be. Yeah. Because like you listen to young Shah Rukh, it's a trap record. Yeah. It's hip hop. Yeah. Listen to Jalebi Baby, it's like part Bollywood, part salsa, part reggaeton. Part yeah. It's kind of that. And so I don't think I'm ever going to be an artist that only sticks to one genre. No person listens to one genre of music, so no artist should only have to make one genre of music. Yeah. But right now, every time I go into my laptop and I start making music, every song just sounds different from the other. So right now I feel like I want to just keep making songs, and only after I make some songs, I think I'm going to naturally come to a point where I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to make an album and a full, complete body of work. Because when I make an album, I think I would always want it to be something that sounds like an album and not just a bunch of random songs all put together. Yeah. So I think it's going to take a little time. Yeah, it's going to take some time and some development and some time working on the craft to get to a point where I'm ready to make a full length body of work. But until then, yeah, I'm just going to have fun with these singles.
Yeah, so look out for more singles coming from Tesher, and you know where to find it as soon as it's dropped. His YouTube is usually where you get new music, so go to Tesher on YouTube, and congratulations on signing a deal with the Universal Music Group Global. You're going to be definitely going global. For our Taiwanese listeners, make sure you catch up on this new song, Jalebi Baby, collaboration with Jason Derulo. And Tesher, thank you so much for stopping by here.
Thank you, Joey. My pleasure. Yo, what up? This is Tesher, and you're listening to Asia Pop 40.
Asia Pop 40.